Scotland assistant coach Mike Blair has named the Scotland squad 37 guys for the June and July matches. Now, sometimes I think I know a country's team fairly well, and then I see this team named and realize I probably need to watch a lot more Pro 14 because goodness gracious me, there's about 17 guys who are uncapped. And you guys are going to have to walk me through this. Clearly, this squad, looking at the number of caps and the age of these guys, and I think they pretty much said as much in the interviews with Mike Blair. This is with an eye on 2 years' time. They're putting in some groundwork now so that any of these guys, a few of them, a handful of them, if they're ready to go at the World Cup, they're going to have Test match experience under their belt. And yeah, as I said, that's evident in the number of caps, new caps, low number of caps, experienced guys being rested, and just the age. A lot of early 20-year-olds in this Scotland side. But as I said, I'm going to need your guys' help to probably give some insights on who we should be looking out for. Who are the genuine guys who you think could be at the World Cup in 2 years, and other guys you think maybe are only kind of along for the ride. Remember, Mike Blair is standing in for Gregor Townsend because he's off with the Lions. Remember, Scotland does have 8 players in the Lions. And remember, they are resting several of their experienced guys. The likes of Fraser Brown, Johnny Gray and whatnot have just not been called up. They've been given the summer off. I would imagine Shaw Maitland and several other guys are likewise the same. So yeah, I'll go through the squad as best I can. It's not going to be anything all that insightful, I would imagine, because as I said, there's a lot of guys who I'm not that familiar with. But remember, they are playing England A, Scotland A playing England A on the 27th of June. Romania is playing Scotland on the 10th of July. And Georgia is playing Scotland on the 17th of July. So 2 away games to Georgia and Romania for Scotland, and then the away games to England A as well. So 3 away games. Remember, I should have mentioned Redpath is injured. Darcy Graham's injured. There's another injury. I didn't read about Jakob van der Walt. Is he injured or just rested? Who was the other one? Not Hutchinson. He's absent. Did I write it down? Hugh Jones. Hugh Jones is injured. So, yes. It's a changed up lineup. Ashman, Cherry, Stewart and Turner are your 4 hookers named. Only uncapped guy amongst them is Ashman. I could have sworn he's been named in Scotland's initial squads previously, but never got a cap. 21 years old, plays for Sale. Cherry is the guy who got capped recently. One of the oldest kind of guys at 30 years old to get his first cap for Scotland. Bit of a cult hero after his performances in the Six Nations, I should say. Stewart and Turner are also, capped guys. So there's heaps of depth if you think of McAnally and Brown as well in Scotland at hooker, which is pretty pleasing. Props, Atarak. God, excuse me on the pronunciation of that one. Bergen, Batty, Hislop, Kebble, and Sebastian. Uncapped guys are Atarak, Hislop, and Sebastian. Most experienced guy amongst those is Simon Bergen with 31 caps. Robin Hislop's playing for Doncaster, so that's kind of spreading the net pretty wide. But again, I haven't seen him play. He's 29 years old. Javon Sebastian's playing for Scarlets. No caps for Scotland for him, like I mentioned. And Northampton is where Otterak plays. Scotland's had a really good scrum with their kind of frontline guys. It will be interesting to see what these kind of second string guys, if you can call it that. Remember, this is... I'm not being rude when I call anyone second string. These are guys getting experience or guys who are taking opportunities. So you guys know, call it how it is. Locks, Craig, Cummings, Henderson, Hodgson, McDonald, and Skinner. None of those guys are over 26 years old. The oldest is 26. The youngest is Cameron Henderson at 21, uncapped. Hodgson, 23, uncapped. McDonald, 26, uncapped. And the most capped is Scott Cummings with 20 caps for him, 24 years old. I mean, he's been a bit of a mainstay of that Scottish side in recent times. Sam Skinner's been playing his socks off for Exeter, so it kind of makes sense. It will be interesting to see if they kind of pair up Cummings with one of the uncapped guys, or maybe Alex Craig, who's got the 2 caps, to see if they can kind of ease these guys into it, or whether they throw some guys in the deep end and play 2 uncapped locks. Loosies, you got Bayliss, Bradbury, Crosby, Darge, Fagerson, and Richie. Richie is captain. He's another guy who he would have been in the conversation for the Lions, but man, there's just so many good Loosies. But good for him to get a chance to captain the side. He's only 24 years old. He's already got 27 caps. Everyone knows how good he is. Real good pilfer merchant, big tackler. And Matt Fagerson's only 22. He's got 13 caps. He's maybe been the solution to the puzzle. I've been calling it kind of thing with Watson, Richie, and then other. It's been Bradbury. It's been other guys. It's been... who's that Kiwi guy? Plays for Scarlets. You know the guy, Blade Thompson. But I think Matt Fagerson's looked the best of the bunch, so hopefully he gets a crack. But that being said, you've got Darge, Crosby, and Bayliss all uncapped. And Bradbury's back in the fold with those 14 caps. Haven't seen him play for Scotland for a wee while, but we know what he can do as well. Largely an Edinburgh and Glasgow mix in terms of their club sides, with Bayliss playing for Bath. Scrum halves, they've picked 4, which is a lot. Dobby, Horn, Shield, and Steele. Steele has been there or thereabouts in recent times with Gregor Townsend's sides. He's accumulated 4 caps in his time. Great to see George Horn back. He only has 14 caps, but it feels like he's been around for ages, even if he is only 26 years old. Shield and Dobby are your 2 uncapped guys from Edinburgh and Glasgow, respectively. Dobby is the youngest guy in the lineup at 19 years old. Good for him to get some experience and find out kind of what being in that Scotland camp is all about. Fly halves, Hastings and Ross Thompson. Hastings, I think I know all about him. I've seen him playing for a long time. I kind of made a wish that he would get more starts for Scotland, and then falling out between Russell and Coach Townsend saw that happen. But it was then equally nice to see Finn Russell come back. So with Russell off with the Lions, he gets a crack again to start. But then Ross Thompson, who also plays for Glasgow, is in the side. So that's going to be interesting. I haven't seen much of Thompson. Does he usually play understudy for Hastings? I'll take any insights there. Midfielders, Lang, Scott, Stain, and Tuipulotu. Tuipulotu, playing in Japan. He was a bit of a left field pick for me. I think he might have signed for... Was it for Glasgow going forward? I swear I've seen his name in the news somewhere. I believe he's got a Scottish grandmother. I think I read an article on Rugby Pass about him, about how she used to give him a hiding and stuff like that. But yeah, he used to play for the Rebels from memory in Super Rugby. So he's one guy that is kind of vaguely familiar. Kyle Stain's got the 1 cap for the Scottish. Matt Scott has 39, so he seems to be the most capped guy in the Scottish lineup. And James Lang is another one who's been with Scotland in recent times. Gets criticised for being not the quickest off the mark, but he has accumulated 6 caps. So in this squad, counts as relatively experienced. And outside backs, Jack Blaine, Cole Forbes, Damien Hoyland, Rufus McLean, and Blair Kinghorn. Well, I'm pretty familiar with Blair Kinghorn. It's always unfortunate when he misses out, because you've got the likes of Hogg, you've got Duan van der Merwe at the moment, and you've got like Darcy Graham or Shaun Maitland or someone else. Blair Kinghorn often seems to be the guy who misses out. That being said, he has accumulated 25 caps for Scotland, so he's a veteran, one of the most experienced veterans in this side, whereas Blaine, Forbes, and McLean are all uncapped and all playing for either Edinburgh or Glasgow. I really need to watch some more of those sides to get a feeling for these guys, because I don't know who I should be looking out for amongst all those guys. So yes, goodness gracious me, lacking on caps, but definitely got one eye on the World Cup. That is without doubt. I seem to remember Scotland did that a few years ago, right? They went to America and Canada and played a bunch of their kind of not top lineup players. It's not a bad thing to do, man. Give these guys that test experience. I know they're playing Romania and Georgia, so you might say those are kind of easy games, but those are going to be away from home. And those sides don't get to play Tier 1 nations that often, so they will be absolutely fizzing to knock off a Tier 1 nation. So the pressure is on these guys, even if they are not playing in England or an Ireland or a Wales or, France, that kind of thing. So, yeah, they're definitely going to need to be on their game. It will be interesting to see how they go. Good on Scotland, man, for getting to the likes of Romania and Georgia, something that Tier 1 nations don't do enough of. Hopefully we can see more of that in the future. And then there's the Scotland A game to kind of warm us up. I think they said, I saw the interview with Mike Blair, and he said they're kind of not sure what side England is going to throw at them, like how experienced or youthful a side the England A side is going to be. But from the Scottish point of view, it looks like it's going to be a fairly fresh bunch of guys. But fresh guys are always hungry, so we will see how they go. Please, guys, do drop some comments on who we should be looking out for. What are these guys kind of known for? Who are the speedsters? Who's great under a high ball? Who's got a big old boot? That kind of thing. Big tacklers, big scrummages, and we look forward to seeing Scotland's game this month and next month. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys soon. See you later.